All right, boys and girls, it's Gary Dean, Tampa, Florida, DetailJuice.com. I have gotten a bazillion, that's right. I don't even know how many zeros that is, but it's a lot. Messages, emails, text messages, phone calls, all of that on my air injection setup. I'm ready to get this video started, but first, I want to talk about what did I invent? Well, did I invent the Gary Dean wash method? Well, that's subjective. Did I put a sequence of events in a certain order and call it something that I do? Absolutely. Did I invent the microfiber towel? No. Did I invent a bucket? Nope. Did I invent water? Nope. Did I invent the infinite use detail juice? Yeah, that was pretty much my idea. The air injection situation. The Gary Dean air injection method that I'm going to discuss today. Did I invent the air compressor? Nope. Did I invent the hose reel? Nope. Did I invent the rubber hose? Nope. Did I invent the carboy I keep the infinite use detail juice in? Nope. Did I invent the automotive siphon spray gun? Nope. But what I did do is bring things that we already did know about to the automotive finish care industry, to the car wash industry. That is what I did. I brought these things in this sequence of events, and the way that they're set up, well, honestly, like that's just the standard way to set up an air compressor situation, so I didn't invent that either. But what I did do is bring a way to get better results with things we already had to the industry that I love. That's it. So, did I pioneer the Gary Dean air injection method? You bet your sweet ass I did. And did I invent the Gary Dean wash method? Yeah, that was me. I'm the inventor of putting all that together creatively so that it's mine. So, if you'd like to challenge any of that, you can reach me directly at 813. Go ahead and get a piece of paper and a pen out and jot this number down. 813-846-4406. If you love the system, show some support, tell your friends, but tell them who you heard it from. If you need me, let me know. Thanks for your support. Now, as most of you know, over a year ago, I put this situation together. And while it's not anything that I completely invented, it's been around for a long time. I mean, that's how you spray a car with paint. But I adapted it for the detailing industry because I think it's an amazing way to save water and get amazing results while not installing extra swirls in your car when you're cleaning it. Now, it's not for everybody. That's the bottom line. And you may not love it. You may not have to conserve water. I don't know. I mean, whatever. But I think it's a fantastic way to use less water to be able to wash inside without a bunch of residual runoff and all that kind of thing, which is pretty amazing. I mean, whether you're in a northern state in the winter or you're in Florida in the summer, you want to be out of the elements in both of those situations. I mean, the sun here is ridiculous, so if you got shade, and you can put your car in a garage, the air injection is amazing for, you know, retaining the clarity and the gloss of your paint because you're keeping it clean and you're not rubbing grit into it. I recently hooked up my air injection, well, the big boy air injection system, and I find this to be far better than using a smaller compressor. I've got about 125 PSI at all times right now, and I find it to be amazing. And I wanted to share it with you here on YouTube, and I have shared it before, but I put the really in-depth video on rawdetailtv.com, which is my How Gary Dean Does It site. And I want to show you this so that basically I don't have to continue to answer redundant emails and messages. So this is where we're at. So I bought a Puma model PK6060V. Realistically, if I had it to do all over again, I would have bought an even bigger batter compressor. However, this one I believe is $700 now. I think I paid $800 for mine. That was delivered from aircompressorsdirect.com. So check them out, and that's the model number. I did mount it to the floor with tap cons. It is wired to 220 to my circuit breaker box over there. I have just some 1/4 inch internal diameter hose going into my moisture filter, because you don't want that moisture from the bottom of your tank to come up through your line and get sprayed on the car. Nobody wants rust residue, because the interior of this tank is bare steel, and if you don't empty your tank out on a daily basis to get that condensation out, you're going to be spraying moisture through your hose. Now, everybody asks me, what fittings do I need? So I'm going to simplify it for you. Every application is different. You need to get the major components that I'm recommending and figure it out for yourself, because there's no end-all be-all answer to what do I need, because every application is different. So that is a compressor. That is the one that I have. Obviously, I would recommend doing at least this or bigger. Okay, so check out the specs that this one has right there. CFM is what you're looking for at 90 psi. Okay, so it's pretty good bet that we can get 90 psi out of this every time we pull the trigger. It is a 60-gallon, 11.3 CFM. If I had it to do all over again, I'd get somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 CFM at 90. Max pressure is 135. It usually, and I've been using it a little bit, it's sitting at, what, 119 right now. This generally will sit at about 125. It does not go up to 135 that I noticed. So that's where we're at right there. I would do, and this is 3.2 horsepower. I mean, all the information's right there. Okay, give you a second to look at that. Boom. This or bigger is what I'd recommend for this setup. Now, however, you can get a truck mount machine, which I'm going to do for a mobile trailer with better specs than this, but it's about $1,900. So I like Puma, good brand, good old American flag. Boom. All right, so it comes out here into, I've got two fittings to adapt this hose on there. See, you have to figure out what it takes. This is 1/4 inch inner diameter hose. You could use 3/8, whatever size you want, just make it work. I'm using more fittings to go in and out of my moisture filter and my pressure regulator. I got this thing on balls to the wall, maximum pressure. So when I squeeze that trigger, I've got 125 psi until the pressure goes down. This is not 100% duty cycle. However, I would recommend, if you're going to use air injection, you buy a compressor if you're going to make the initial investment on something that has 100% duty cycle. That means that when this compressor starts to run to fill the tank, it is still giving me 100% of the pressure that I let go through my pressure regulator. So 100% duty cycle, that's a good deal. This particular unit does not have 100% duty cycle, which means I'm not getting the max pressure if this machine is running. So into the water separator, I've got it on max. I want all the pressure I can get to remove the dirt and contaminants off the surface, while I'm also shooting in my infinite use detail juice and or juice boost into the mix to emulsify the dirt, and then I can safely wipe it away. Out here, anything that has well, I only use stainless steel hose clamps anyway, just rust inhibitor. And then I'm obviously going up and into my 50-foot hose reel, which I got this at Northern Tools. I then had to adapt the end of it into a quick disconnect fitting, which I have another extension, which is my Flexzilla hose, which would be more of a mobile situation. I have a 5-gallon carboy, which has infinite use detail juice and juice boost in it. I have adapted that as well. That's a 3/4 inch opening there on the cap, and then I have adapted that for a quick disconnect as well. More fittings, again, it's all per your application. You just have to figure that stuff out. That's going into a, I got this clear hose at Home Depot or Lowe's, one or the other. And that's, I believe, a 1/4 inch inner diameter as well. And that goes all the way up to the gun. This is the gun that I recommend. It's like $23, I think, at Harbor Freight. Again, more connections, quick disconnects. You got the female side on the gun, you got the male side on the gun for the siphon side and for the air side. And that's it. It's pretty simple. I did use Velcro ties to tie my hoses together. You don't have to do that. You can let them run wild if you want. But I want to show you just how impressive air injection is. I've actually got, if you're wondering, that's tiger's blood chilling in that. I'm trying to clean that jug out. It's pretty awesome. I actually have, you can adjust the amount of liquid that comes out of this thing, which is the coolest part. I like to go heavy on it because more lubrication equals less scratches. But if you notice, the dirt, and then you notice the pressure is removing the dirt. So, pretty good deal, huh? This is very similar to a pressure washer setup, except for you're using far less material, far less water. You get far less runoff, and it's equally as good. I've been doing a damp wipe, and you can do this with any product that you enjoy. I personally love the infinite use detail juice, and what that just means is that you would get about a gallon of water in a bucket, just like that. I'm actually just going to put some Magnum motorcycle juice in here for now. I got a little buggy. It's like 1 ounce in there. Get the bug out. That's a love bug. Awesome. Hate those little things. So anyway, put a towel in a bucket. Get the polymer all in the towel. Then I recommend just wringing the towel out as best you can. I'll try to do this one-handed. I've been told more than once I'm good with my hands, so good deal. So just to make sure that we're on the same page, spray it down, get all the dirt to run down. You start at the top, clean the surface. Start from top to bottom. You want to move all that dirt. You want to unbond those contaminants from the vehicle as best you can before you start wiping. Now you could fold your towel in 4s and wipe like that, but I just start from top. Creatively move your towel around so that you're not using the exact same spot every time. Notice all that dirt. Flip it when you need to. You could use a second towel to buff off any residue, but I can tell you that if you're doing this in direct sunlight, you're probably not going to need to buff anything off because it's gonna dry pretty fast. And if you're using the infinite use detail juice, it's going to leave a streak-free finish anyway. But that's where we're at. It's similar to using a pressure washer to remove the dirt and unbond it from the surface, but you're also spraying in the lubrication, which is helping to emulsify the dirt and grime. So now if you've got any questions for me on what you just saw, I would be happy to help. But I believe that I just gave you all the information that you need to put something like this together. Now, the only thing I really haven't addressed, I feel like I've addressed it, but I'm going to address it a little bit more. You don't have to have a compressor that big. To get into air injection, to really make it worthy of having on a larger production scale, to do multiple cars at a time, I would recommend that you have at least the specs that mine does. I have the Harbor Freight. It's the 29-gallon black compressor. It's the oiled compressor. The difference between oiled and oil-less is basically oiled will last a little bit longer because the internal parts are lubricated. Oil-less creates more heat and friction and all that kind of stuff. So you're probably not going to have it last as long. So I would go with an oiled compressor. They just last longer. So as far as that goes, minimum specs, I would recommend you could go smaller. It won't work as well. You need a higher duty cycle than that. 100% duty cycle is what you need if you can swing it. You can mount a truck mount compressor on a trailer or in a truck. And that's it. You're just going to need a gas-powered unit if you do a truck mount, because you're going to be hard-pressed to find a generator, unless you go gangster big, that will run it. So I would go with a gas-powered unit if you want to set it up for a mobile setup. But stay tuned, because I plan on putting together a mobile setup for the air injection. I've got some plans for the future where I'll be doing lots of just, you know, hospital parking lot cars. So I also want to add that if you're going to do air injection, it is an awesome way to pre-soak prior to the Garry Dean wash method. If you don't know what that is, Google Garry Dean wash method. As far as the air injection for the pre-soak, that's going to unbond the contaminants before you go into a rinseless wash. And you're also not going to reintroduce old dirt to new dirt and potentially have more scratches occur because you're pre-soaking towels in a bucket and using one until it's spent, so 2 to 3 sides, discarding that towel and then getting another one. So it takes around 8 towels to do a normal size car that way. And so adding air injection to the Garry Dean wash method is a far better way to do it. However, if you don't want to do the rinseless wash, you want to use far less water than even that, you could use just air injection, turn up the spray, use more lubrication, and do a damp towel waterless wash, which I have been doing testing, and I can tell you that the way that I just showed you, you'd be hard pressed to see swirl marks after that. But do what you got to do. Everybody has their own opinion. That's what this game is about, and if you need me, let me know. I also think it's pretty important to note that even when doing the damp wipe method with the air injection, you can pre-soak your towels in there like in the Garry Dean wash method. So we'll call this the Garry Dean air injection method. So the GDAIM, GDAIM, whatever. Anyway, you could pre-soak multiple towels in this bucket with, I don't know, you probably, for a whole car, if you get 8 out of the Garry Dean wash method, you could do 8 in here, and it probably would only take about a quarter to a half a gallon to pre-soak your towels, and then to wring them out, to use them damp to wipe off all the residue. So pre-soaking your towels for the Garry Dean air injection method is a beneficial and great idea as well. And I know it goes without saying, it's pretty obvious, that the biggest benefit to the Garry Dean air injection method is that the 125 PSI that you get out of the air compressor is moving that contaminants out from where they're stuck so that they're easier removed. So 125 PSI is a heck of a lot more than you get out of a pump sprayer or even one of my low pressure systems. I mean, you may get 35 PSI out of a low pressure system, I don't care if the pump says it pumps 100 PSI, that is not true. That is not what you get when you pull the trigger. With the air, it gives you the ability to use a renewable resource, or whatever you want to call it, an infinite resource, oxygen, air, compressing it, and then you're spraying it on the vehicle, versus a pressure washer requires a pump to shoot the water. So you're benefiting yourself in a lot of ways by using the air injection method. But it will unbond the contaminants, and that's the biggest benefit of the air, is that it removes the contaminants in a more efficient, easier, less dramatic, or I should say more dramatic fashion than any type of low pressure system would. I'm gonna just show you, give you another demo real quick. You can see all the nasty dirt on the back here. The debris, all the debris. So all of that is there. It is now not there. However, we can use a clean side of the damp towel. And if you'll notice, if you'll try to use a pressure washer and pressure wash the dirt off a vehicle, even the 1500, 1600, 2000 PSI pressure washer is not getting all the dirt off your car. I can tell you that this is extremely efficient, and with a quick wipe, all of that nasty debris goes away. So effortlessly goes away because you've unbonded it from the surface. So now it is easily wiped away. So pressure is king, but it doesn't take 1600 plus PSI to detail a car and not swirl it all up. I also want to mention that air injection will give you a far more thorough wash than you can get with a standard rinseless wash, because all the nooks and crannies that we have, I mean, for example, you know, inside here, I mean, you have to go through every little piece, every fin to get that all washed out. Whereas with the pressure, you know, all in here, all these nooks and crannies, you know, all in here, air injection knocks that stuff out of the park. It gets those cracks and crevices broken up, gets dirt in them broken up and clean. You cannot get that from a spray bottle and a regular rinseless wash. Just saying. Just want to add real quick that the 125 PSI that my air compressor puts out is more than adequate. I can't imagine needing more than that 125 PSI of air. So if you're looking for a compressor, I would say, you know, one with a max of 135 would be sufficient. There's no real need to spend the money to get one that's, you know, 2,000 bucks because it's 175 PSI. In fact, I think I need to look at the max air capacity PSI flow through the gun that I recommend. I'm pretty sure it's not that high, so I would be concerned that you damage the gun if you were going to use any more than 125. It seems to be holding up pretty well. I mean, I've done probably 30-40 cars with it and no problem at all. So 125, 135 PSI is pretty much all you need, but just make sure you have a high CFM, and 100% duty cycle is definitely a big benefit. If you got questions, feel free to ask. Try to not make them redundant. If I answered it in the video, that should be good, but I'll help however I can. So thank you so much for watching, and check out detailedjuice.com if you'd like to learn more about the Infinite Use Detail Juice or Juice Boost or any of my other products. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, and I hope that I can help you in your detailing endeavors. If you need me, I'm always here. Have a great day.